In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the one wise, true and ever-living God, who came to us in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, a man who travelled from the east even unto the west, as the scripture said. He would come from the east unto the west to seek and to save that which is lost. And there was no other people in the west that was more lost than a people who had suffered under servitude, slavery after 400 years in the worst kind of living condition that has ever been known to man. And I say ever been known to man because our condition was never rightly recorded. It was never rightly written down. It was never rightly documented because we were never meant to have any kind of reconnection to our, not just our history and where we came from and our richness and our opulence and all the great things that we did in civilization prior to our fall. We were never meant to be connected to that, but also we were not meant to be reminded about what we had suffered under the hands of so-called Christians. So-called Christians. So we thank Allah that the power was manifested in that great vessel. And out of him, he raised one from Detroit, a place called Black Bottom, Detroit, one whose name at the time was Elijah Paul. And that one humble little man was searching for a person, for a man that would come with a message that was in line with what he had been reading in all of the years of going to the churches and studying the Bible. And he was looking for a man that fitted the description of one who would come as a savior. And on hearing the words of Master Fard Muhammad, he said to him, "You are the one who has been prophesied to come." Master Fard Muhammad said to him, "Well, yes, I am, but who knows that? Don't say anything now." Because the people wasn't ready at the time to really have that revelation of who that great man was. So we thank Allah that he poured his power and knowledge into that vessel. Elijah Paul eventually became who we know today as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We call him honorable because of what he suffered and what he worked through and what he soldiered through. And he stayed on the path through resistance and opposition, not just from the open enemy, but from among his ranks, among our own people who opposed him. But he stayed. He stayed, and for that reason we give him the title honorable, because he earned that title. He worked for it. So brothers and sisters, bringing it forward to the man that we have in our midst today, the Honourable Minister Farrakhan, we thank the Honourable Elijah Muhammad that he poured his spirit and his knowledge and his wisdom into that one divine vessel that we have among us today. And if it wasn't for the Honourable Minister Farrakhan, we would have very little knowledge of the Honourable Elijah Muhammad and Master Fard Muhammad. Because everything that was written, or everything that was supposed to have been hidden from us by the open enemy, the Caucasian, the system, the Jews, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, the knowledge of the Honourable Elijah Muhammad was never meant to come to us. Because the awakening of our minds was something that they didn't want. You know, we were meant to stay asleep. We are supposed to stay dormant in this dormant condition where our minds are not doing anything. Our communities are not doing anything. You know, we're not doing anything with our lives. We are non-productive. We are a dead people. Hence, the Bible calls us deaf, dumb and blind. You know, we are a dead people. We can't hear truth. We can't see anything good, and we can't speak anything good. Alright, so we hope you're comfortable. We want you to open your minds and be prepared and ready to receive the message and the teachings that you're going to be, has going to be delivered to you this afternoon. Alright, so I will not delay any further. I would like you to help me to receive our great brother on North Side of London, hard-working soldier. Help me to receive Brother Bari Muhammad. Let's hear it.
How we doing?
Right, sir.
I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you in the greetings words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum. That means peace be unto you, to all you people who don't speak Arabic. So with that said, I'm not going to be long, I'm just going to bring up these brothers because time is moving. We're moving a little bit late, but it's good still. As brother mentioned, you know, people are doing the work in the community, and it's for us as the community to really join on and make that happen and make it work. So we're here because our youngsters are killing each other. Stop the killing is what it's about. Then what's the solution to stop the killing? You see, we've got to have a solution. What are you going to do for me, they ask us in the streets. I'm earning £1,000 a day. Well, how can you help me? You see? And that's where the trap is. They don't understand. That's the trap. You can earn £1,000 a day selling drugs in Tottenham, Harlesden, Willesden, all them areas that are heavily black populated. But you cannot sell drugs and earn £1,000 a day in Hampstead, Finchley, even Stamford Hill. So what I'm saying is, our youngsters have to know there is a different way, and they have to be shown it. And that means us going out in the streets and doing the work with them. We need to go and see them personally and give them a personal message of love and how we love them and how we have been, what's the word, negating our duty to them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As a big man, we have been negated in our duty. And I must say, this post-war thing, you know, I've got children, we're having meetings here every Wednesday, you know, local organising committees, and you know, there's children of people that I know, and the people are from Tottenham, and they move to Wood Green, and their children don't know each other, and their children end up killing who they know. And I remember when we grew up, we're a family, you know, when, you know, in England, when I'll be walking down the road, I'm a 60s child, just even in case you don't think so. I'm born in the 60s, and it's like, if I saw another black fella across the road, or brother, at that time it would have been a mate, I'd just raise my hand and go, just to see him was a great deal, because there was hardly any of us here in the 60s. What you see now is not what it was. We was too few. Yeah, so what happens is we appreciate each other. You know, someone black come on the TV, will be like, wow, mum, we've got someone black on the TV. You understand what I'm saying? So we were lost in that, but now our children have no idea, and they don't care about who they are, where they come from. They don't care. They just want to make that P. And it's all about that P. But we're here to talk about collective work in the community. So I'm going to bring on a brother. The first brother I'm going to bring on, I've known him for near on about 24 years. And how I got to know him was through, anybody heard of crack cocaine? We heard of crack, right? When the riots came, we still have a great conscious level. When the riots came, they said after the riots, they knew it was rising, they sent in the crack cocaine into Tottenham, they sent it in. Woolwater Farm, and they sent in their mules who were Jamaican, so-called Jamaican, they call them yardies, but gangsters or whatever. But the crack cocaine was made especially to attract the melanin in our body. And this brother here, he was doing that back then. And he's now got an organisation called Blaksox, and he will go into what they do. But this brother name is Viv Ahmun. Can you bring him up with a great hand? Please.
Right. Firstly, I just want to thank Brother Bari for inviting me to speak here today. It's been a long time, at least a quarter of a century that we've been in the struggle together. And again, it's a great opportunity to see some of the other familiar faces, brothers that I've seen for a long time, and Leo Mohammed as well. We've been around and around. We saw each other, it could be a few months ago. We couldn't even remember where it was. We spent so much time on the road doing the work. All right, so I know time is tight, so I'm just going to move through this if that's okay for everybody.
Yes, sir.
I started with this image because it exemplifies what we're about. We're about taking the time to commune with our young people. Because that's the root of the problem. That we've spent so much time doing other things. Important things often, you know, earning a living, studying and so on and so forth, that we've forgotten about our young people, and they've been about filling their own time. It's created the opportunity for individuals who do not have our young people's best interests at heart to capture their hearts and their minds. So we're about putting that right. That's what it's about. And this is a picture of us in, where were we? We're in Mosside.
Okay.
2 months ago, working, just running a session, talking to the young people about doing for self, independently financed. There are about 40 young people there. The police come along, sit in and find out what we're up to, and a whole range of other so-called professionals, because they see it as a threat. You know, our young people represent food to them and the mortgage paid and so on and so forth. When organisations and individuals start working with our young people independently, that's a threat to them. It's not a good thing. It's a bad thing.
That's right.
So I wanted to put that out there because I think that's the critical starting point for us, that it's about getting back into the work with our young people and winning back their hearts and their minds. Boris just launched an initiative. It's called the London Gang Exit Voluntary Community Sector. London Gangs Exit Programme. £1.5 million programme to get young black people out of gangs, because they say that 70% of the gang members are black men, essentially. Not the case, but we won't bother with that today. Now, I think this is really important because this information is being circulated everywhere. It's part of Boris's strategy to ensure it looks good on his way out, when in fact he's done nothing for us in the time that he's been there, and prepared the ground for those who he would like to see proceeding. It's not a gang thing. It just isn't. Okay? The gang term applied to our community is a slur.
Yes, sir.
Right? It's a bastardization, excuse my language, but it's a bastardization of our identity. Those of us who have been here before, remember there when we were called muggers and all these other things, right? It's not. But that £1.5 million is important, because that's our resources, because we do pay taxes, we consume more than any other community. But that money doesn't go to do good for us. That 1.5 million is going to organisations, we call them Guinness organisations. They run by predominantly white-run organisations, run by individuals that don't live in our communities and don't have the best interests of our communities at heart. They've got the contract to do that work with our young people, and they don't reside in our communities. They have no inroads into our communities. They don't have the faith, the trust of our communities. We run a summer school, we run a school in North London called Aspire Prep. It is aimed at aspirational parents. These are parents that want more for their children. They don't have enough money to put their child in a private school, whatever kind of private school it is. They haven't got enough money to pay for what they want because of where they want their child to be. So we've established this, and our intention is to roll it out in partnership with other organisations that are doing the same thing across the country. In addition to that, what we're beginning to do is develop programmes aimed at the young people that are being thrown out of mainstream education or are part of that education to prison pipeline. This is the doing for self thing. Blaksox, as I said, is not an organisation in its own right. It's not a legal entity. It doesn't have a bank account. It's an approach. It's a collective. There are a whole range of organisations involved at the moment. We're about 40 individual organisations of varying sizes. involved in it for different reasons. So we have very small organisations with maybe only a turnover of 50,000, and we have larger organisations, the largest at the moment with a turnover of 1.2 million. They're all in it for different reasons. Remember, the government makes more money out of us than anything else. So companies working in the public sector make more money out of us than anyone else. Right? We don't see any of that. These contracts are secured way upstream for millions. Right? The criminal justice system is a great example of that.
That's right.
And I won't go into it, but I highly recommend this book. Michelle Alexander, The New Jim Crow. And it talks about the prison industrial state. We all need to understand this. We must master our brief. So Blaksox doesn't deliver services. We don't go on the ground and actually do the work. We work with the organisations that are delivering the services so that they can deliver the work more effectively. Right? There's no point in you running an education program in North London. It's just you in one little postcode doing the thing, and other people are doing exactly the same thing as you elsewhere, but it's not joined up. Where's the economies of scale?
So we've got here Viv Ahmun. He is a representative of Blaksox. It's a fairly new organisation. Can you give us a little idea of Blaksox and what your goal and objective is in general, and why you came here today to speak with the brothers from Nation of Islam?
Well, I mean, let me just say first and foremost that it's been, over this holiday period, a real pleasure to share the platform with brother Leah Mohammed. It takes me back a few years. You know, we've been in the struggle a long time, and the same thing with Bari Mohammed, because he and I bumped into each other at a couple of events recently. One around the disproportionality within the criminal justice system, the high numbers, proportionally more black men in prisons in the UK than in the States, really shocking. And we began talking about how we could reconnect and make the resources that we've got go as far as possible. So I was really excited and humbled when I got the opportunity to speak here today.
Well, brother, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity. And of course, I'm very grateful and thankful to Allah for blessing me to be here with Brother Viv and Brother Bari and the North London NOI community. Brother, everything I said today, in truth, comes from the guidance and leadership of the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's the one who, in the build-up to the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March, really pushed home this message that we have to, we have to produce 10,000 fearless. And the 10,000 fearless, the concept and the idea is that 10,000 of us at least must be prepared to hit those streets, go among our people, put ourselves between the guns and the bullets, and make the difference. Begin to engage properly with our people again, with our young people in particular, and really demonstrate that we love them, that we love self, that we love them, that we should all of us be united, that this divide between the elders and the youth must be that gap must be filled.
I greet you, my beloved and beautiful black sisters and brothers and others, with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Hotep. Alafia. Free the land. What's up? And black laws for all black people. It's indeed my honor to be a part.